G'day, Rick here, and today's video we're going to be talking about using artificial intelligence, perhaps with the chance of reducing conflict and misunderstandings in meetings. So this is a bit of an imagination video. So we're going to be looking at using AI to help reduce conflict and misunderstandings in meetings. Oh, and by the way, if you wouldn't mind, I'd appreciate a like and subscribe. So let's get into it, shall we? So today what we're going to be talking about is simply imagining an AI model where you could use the example of a board or a committee or a group of people that meet regularly, and the AI, the model, would be able to monitor the mood in the room, the behaviour of the people, as far as respect for each other goes, etc., and communication styles in meetings. So perhaps the first thing, just for the purpose of the exercise, is to define what AI is. And of course, artificial intelligence is a branch of computer science, and it uses algorithms or instructions that are based on large language models or data sets that it's trained on so that it knows how to respond. I'll talk about bias a little bit later on. So how could AI be used to reduce conflict and misunderstandings in meetings? Well, first of all, people are all different, and I'm sure you know that. And we all communicate using different styles. Every one of us is made up of each style, but we all have a dominant one. And that's the default style that we normally resort to when under stress or when we're quite relaxed. So let's have a look at these four styles that we've got on the screen. This is just one model of many, of course. And you've got blues, who generally tend to be task-oriented. Got greens, who are very much focused on relationships and are not particularly keen on conflict. Then you've got the blacks, who are very much information oriented, very analytical, and reds are very much fun oriented. Now, as I say, we're all made up of different styles, but we have a dominant one. So if people are aware of their style, it can then improve their self-awareness. And also, if they are aware of others, they can be more tolerant. So an AI model could help remind people of what the dynamics are in the room. Now, there's no doubt there will be resistance to adoption, and we certainly will cover that later. So let's have a look at some of the benefits of AI or a model like this in a meeting. Well, first of all, it could record the minutes to the meeting. There's always somebody taking the minutes, but whether they catch everything is always questionable, and whether they catch it in the right terms is also questionable. An AI model recording the meeting can then generate a transcript so that everybody knows that the meeting minutes are absolutely accurate. So it could also flag some inappropriate behaviour if there was any, but under no circumstances should this be used for policing. Any tool such as an AI model should be used for empowerment of people, certainly not for disempowerment. Another benefit, of course, is the potential for improved communication. Conflict and arguments are not particularly welcome in any meeting. They interrupt the flow and they just bring emotion to the meeting, which everybody could well do without. Artificial intelligence or a model such as what I'm speaking about can scan the meeting and keep most people aware of the mood in the room. Of course, you're doing this anyway, so it is really going to augment your own reading of the situation and perhaps help you perform better and deliver better value to the meeting that you're participating in. So when we talk about communication, of course, we probably are all aware that there's a huge amount of communication is non-verbal. Now, it's conceivable that AI could interpret what was going on with non-verbal communication if there were cameras in the room, where AI could scan the meeting and keep people aware of the mood in the room. And of course, again, as I said earlier, this augments your own reading of the situation. And when it comes to meaning of words, we all need to remember that the meaning of words are in the people. They are not in the words. People use words that mean something to them, and what might mean something to you could well be a trigger to others. This can cause conflict in a meeting. So I can recall a meeting once where I was involved and the term subcommittee was used. And subcommittee, it wasn't really the intention of the person to use that word because it didn't really mean a group that was reporting to the board. It meant a small group of people who were going to run a volunteer project. But there was a reaction to the word or the term subcommittee. So this is where flags can be raised and questions can be asked. And perhaps in this case, it's always worthwhile asking people what they mean by the use of the word as opposed to jumping to conclusions. Now, of course, it's all very well and easy to say that now. It's remembering it when you're in the midst of a meeting. Of course, efficiency in meetings is another potential benefit of utilising AI. The slide you're looking at shows an empty meeting room. Now, wouldn't that be a wonderful thing if there's less time spent in meetings, because more time can be spent productively doing other things, and that doesn't necessarily have to be work either. So potential conflict could be eliminated or at least mitigated, which would be a big thing in making things move along quicker. As I mentioned earlier, there are issues around the adoption of artificial intelligence as there are around the adoption of any new technology, and change always needs to be managed. Not everyone adopts technology or anything immediately. People do it at different rates along the way. So just because you bring in a new model doesn't mean everyone's going to take it on immediately. And you can't sell stuff like that. You've got to let people experience it. So let's take a story, for example, of somebody with a hammer and some nails. And they come along and they show somebody who's been using a rock to drive nails how well the hammer works. Now, that's all very well and good, but the person's not going to get rid of their rock because they're quite happy with it. It's only after they will have used the hammer to drive nails several times that they might just retire their rock and move over to a hammer. Some people will do this after 3 times, others after 5, others after 10, others after 20, and some maybe not at all. Technology is no different. Now, moving on from the last example, Everett Rogers developed a concept quite some time ago, I'm not sure what the year was, called the product diffusion cycle, or the adoption cycle of products. And in the image on the screen there, you can actually see how you've got innovators, then you've got early adopters, you've got the majority coming in and over the hump, right down to the very the laggards, and some people just, as I say, never adopted at all. So this is the sort of bell curve that you need to be looking at when you're bringing in new technology, particularly along the lines of AI, which can be a big challenge for some people. Bear that in mind, be patient with them. Just a few words on the potential for misuse of artificial intelligence. The ethical use of AI tools is an absolute imperative. Models that you use or come across can be biased. In fact, most of them are, because they are programmed by humans. And there's plenty of examples of biased data sets around. When it comes to AI, use it as a tool, not as a master. It is not infallible, and you need to keep an eye on the information that you are getting back. Well, that's about it, really. Conflict and communication issues are nothing new to any of us. And anything to improve our relationships with each other would certainly be worthwhile. Now, maybe it is a utopian dream, but a world where everybody gets along, wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? And finally, I'd just like to leave you with the words of Jimi Hendrix, who said, "When the power of love overtakes the love of power, then we shall know peace." Well, thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of it and giving you something to think about. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and by all means go over to Medium and check out the full article there. And if you have some comments, I would love to hear what you think. Please leave them below. Cheers.